Hey everybody, it's Harry back again to share with you some more grilling and barbecue tips. So today's little talk that I have for you is a question that many of my students ask me. Say, hey Harry, what are some of the tips and tricks when you are away from home and you're trying to throw a barbecue party at the event site? So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Harry Soo. I'm a pitmaster from Los Angeles, California. I've been on the barbecue circuit for about 9 years, and I've been cooking on the KCBS, PNWBA, IBCA circuit around the country. I've done a lot of events in the US and overseas, won a few grand championships, and my passion is actually to share my love for barbecue, and I'm going to try to pass on some of the tips and tricks that I've learned about catering and cooking outdoors in event sites. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to kind of talk about the planning and the food safety and the execution of a party. Now, you already know, right? So there's a lot of information on the internet, checklists, how-tos, and things that you can do when you cater a party. But what I'm going to cover is some of the few topics that I've noticed myself when my students ask that I don't think there's a lot of material on the internet. So I'll cover the first piece, which is food safety, second piece, which is planning a party, and my emphasis is how to plan a party away from your home site. And then we'll talk about some execution and a little bit of protein and talk about kind of what are the tips for success, and then after that we'll open up for Q&A. All right, so hold on tight and fasten your seatbelts, and here we go. So the first thing I want to talk about is the most important topic, which is food safety. Now, you may be asking what that means. If, let's say I have 4 of you out there watching this video, over the next 12 months, according to the CDC, 1 out of 4 of you will fall sick due to some foodborne problem. So I need to talk a little bit about food safety, because if you can follow some of common sense guidelines, you will be able to produce food safety. So the first question I have for you, viewers, is who's responsible for food safety? And you could probably guess it's you. You're absolutely right. Now, second question I have for you is, when does your responsibility for food safety begin? Does it begin, say, when you cook your food? Does it begin when you serve your food? No, it actually begins from what we call the point of acquisition. So the life cycle of how you acquire, prepare, cook, serve the food is important, and that responsibility begins at the point of acquisition, and then it doesn't end when your event's over. So you gotta be realistic. Your responsibility ends only after the food is either, number 1, disposed of or consumed, and that includes leftovers. So it's not cool if you have a party and then Aunt Mary took home a box of your leftover barbecue. She goes home and then she doesn't know how to handle the food, and then she eats your barbecue and she gets sick. And you have to say, well, it's not me. Well, Aunt Mary, you took the food home. You didn't know what to do with it. I'm not responsible. Well, I'm sorry, you are. So I'm going to cover some food safety basics for you so that you can prepare food safely and have a great party. So first things first is, you guys have heard something called the danger zone. Everybody knows that or has heard about it. It's basically a temperature range between 40 degrees and 140 degrees approximately. And it's called a danger zone is because bugs or pathogens tend to multiply rapidly in that temperature range. For example, Salmonella tends to multiply very rapidly around 100 degree temperature range. So if you keep food at 100 degrees, you have some Salmonella on it. Little critters grow really fast, and then you get sick. Now, a lot of people tell me that, hey, I cook my food safely, and if it's in the danger zone, how long can you keep it? So technically, you can keep it for 4 hours. Then after that, you have to toss the food. How do you get 4 hours? Is because they have calculated it takes about 4 hours for the toxins to reach a point where the food becomes unsafe. Now, some of my students ask me, hey, Harry, no big deal. I left the spaghetti sauce on the counter last night. So all I need to do is warm the spaghetti sauce and I can eat the spaghetti sauce and I will be fine. You're going to get sick, because what's happening is what poisons you is not just the pathogens or the bacteria or the viruses. It's actually what we call the endotoxins. So basically it's pathogen poop, right? That's what it is that makes you sick. So what happens is when you have a piece of meat or food that's sitting in the danger zone and those little bugs multiply, they produce poop or what we call byproducts. And the byproducts are called endotoxins, and you cannot cook off the endotoxins. So you can cook the piece of meat or cook the spaghetti sauce to 200 degrees thinking you killed the bugs, but you have killed the bugs, but you have not removed the endotoxin. One of the things that pitmasters have to do a lot is they have to thaw their meats, because a lot of times I buy meat frozen. The proper way to thaw the meat is actually 3 different ways. The first one is, of course, thaw in your fridge. Right? That's everybody knows that. Second one is thaw in cold water, and remember, it should be running. So if you are running a restaurant and the health department shows up and you have meat sitting in water, you're gonna get excited. So make sure that you change the water regularly, every 15 minutes, or you have it under running water. In SoCal, we can't do that because we live in the desert, but if you can change the water every 15 minutes, that's great. And then the third way to thaw frozen meats is the tool you have in your kitchen. It's the microwave, all right? So you can do 3 ways. The other thing all you need to do also is you have to learn how to reheat food, because as a pitmaster, oftentimes you reheat food too. And when you reheat food, you must reheat it to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that 165 degrees Fahrenheit is kind of like 74 degrees centigrade. And the 4140 rule, for those of my folks or my fans who are watching from overseas where they're using the metric system, it's 4 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius is the danger zone. And remember, if you keep food in the danger zone, you can legally only keep it out there for about 4 hours before you have to toss it, right? Now, one of the big things that you can do to avoid any foodborne problems is, the number one thing you can do is washing your hands, right? So again, this is told to me by my students. I have some doctors and nurses in my class, and they tell me, Harry, tell your people out there that when they wash their hands, right, there are 3 parts of their hands that they forget to wash. What are the 3 parts? You want to guess? Anybody? Okay, so most people will say the wrists. That's true. Wash your fingernails, right? And then the third thing that struck me when I first learned it is that you really have to wash these 2 little puppies. These are your thumbs. So according to what I heard from these medical personnel, they told me to teach my students that wash your thumbs, because in time motion video studies, when people wash their hands, they forget to wash these 2 puppies, which is the thumb. So remember this: wash your hands, wash your fingernails, and wash up to your wrists. Okay? Now, what song do you need to sing twice? Or how long do you need to wash your hands for? Right? So if you guess, hey, sing ABC or Happy Birthday twice, about 20 seconds, that's about the appropriate time. And when you cook barbecue, make sure that you have kind of like gloves, and make sure you don't cross-contaminate. Everybody knows that. Don't mix the cooked versus and the raw. And when you cook, you have to be mindful. And you have to be mindful that when you wear gloves on your hands and you take the gloves off and you put food in your mouth, you can contaminate yourself because your hands are not sterile. Okay? So keep those little nuggets of information with you when you cook for your family, because you have a good immune system. But if you have family members that may be, say, elderly or very, very young, and they may be, say, undergoing chemotherapy, you'll find that they'll get sick, but you will not. So please keep those food safety tips I gave you at the back of your head before you start cooking. All right, let me jump to topic number 2. Topic number 2 essentially is about planning. How do you plan for a barbecue party? Now, there's many tips on the internet how to plan your party, but things like guest list, your theme, you want to throw a surf and turf, you want to mention the dress code, you want to talk about location, permits, fees, liquor, who's helping you, how do you notify the neighbors, all this on the internet. But what's not on the internet is, as a pitmaster, I always get asked, hey, Harry, how much food do I cook for my buddies, right? So, and how many ribs do I buy, how big a brisket do I buy? So I'm going to give you some of my tips for success. Number 1, you need to realize that meat is mostly water. Sorry, that's all the big bucks you're paying. Is actually water. I think about 3/4 of the meat is actually water. So depending on how you cook, how you trim, you're gonna lose a lot of the weight in the water. So for example, when I cook a brisket packer, I may start out with, let's say, 18-pound brisket. My final yield is probably about 8 pounds. So I've lost maybe more than 50% of my brisket through the trimming of all the fat. And depending on how aggressively I trim it for burn ends, I'm going to end up with maybe 8 pounds of usable meat. So that's a pretty big cut. So the way I want you to remember is, remember Harry's 40%, 50%, and 60% rule. So when you cook meats, you will find that if you trim it aggressively and cook it for a long time, your yield is about 40%. Then if you don't trim it so aggressively, about 50%. And then if you like a pork butt, you cook it gently, you can probably get 60% yield. So a 10-pound pork butt will give you 6 pounds of meat, which is pretty decent. When you cook chickens shrink a lot. So like a 5-pound bird or something will yield you about 1.5 to 2 pounds of meat. So birds shrink about more than about 60%, right? So those are some of the yields. You can use yield and you can use portions. So for example, when I do ribs, I have 1 rack of baby back ribs. If that's the only protein I'm serving at a party, I always allocate maybe about, say, maybe 2 people, 3, and if they're not big eaters, 3 persons. So about maybe 4 bones of ribs if it's the sole protein. But if I'm cooking other meats, let's say I have 2 or 3 proteins, then about 2 rib bones is enough. And if you use the St. Louis rib, it's a little bit bigger. So I would say maybe up to, if you have big eaters, 3 bones of baby backs. And if you have spare ribs of St. Louis, about 2 bones of St. Louis. So I hope that's helpful in terms of portion control. That's what I always get asked about, is basically those kinds of questions, right? Now, let's talk about the execution. When you execute, when you take your grill offsite and cook, you've got to basically figure out a lot of things that you don't encounter at home. For example, right, one of the things that you will find out when you cook outdoors is that you need to make sure that you have proper sanitation. So you may have to bring along a little wash station, and you don't forget your fire extinguisher. I always bring a first aid kit. It's always in my truck. And then bring your canopy and have shade. Don't forget your chafing trays and ice trays. And then very importantly, when you cook outdoors, right, you have to make sure that you take care of your fire properly. And it would be advisable for you to bring your own ash can, and also make sure that you have a way to dispose of any kind of gray water, right? I'm sure, the park officials or the event host won't appreciate if you pour that gray water down, the sidewalk, or you pour it on a plant and it kills the plant. So those are some of my overall tips to cover food safety, cover planning, and cover the execution of your successful outdoor event. So I'm going to switch gears now, and for those of you who don't want to listen to Q&A, you can turn the video off now. But let me go say hi, give a shout out to all my buddies here who join in on the live feed. So let me go to the top here. All right, so Bobby Collin from Kingsville. Hey, Bobby from Kingsville, Texas. Christine Davis. Okay. Harry, we already took the course and our barbecue is great. Hey, Christine, wonderful. You guys learned well. This is just a recap of the lessons, right? Scooby Newen, hey, yes, the endotoxins with, what's it? LPS polysaccharides. Okay, so you've exceeded my knowledge. I know a little bit about endotoxins, about the thermal death curve. I do know that when you talk about killing bugs, it's a 3-part equation. It's the time, it's the temperature, and it's the acidity. So the acidity part was something I learned recently, and that's because when you eat ceviche, and ceviche is safe to eat because the bugs are killed because of the citrus that's in it. So you can kill bugs 3 ways: through time, temperature, and acidity. All right. So thanks, Nguyen, for your call here, for your comments here, Scooby. Sydney Rickett. Hey, Harry. Nancy Webb in Milwaukee. We can say, hey, Sydney, good to see you. Nancy's a good friend of mine, and she's a blast to hang out with. Always fun and always positive energy. Joey Rodriguez, hello from Central California. Hey Joey, it's on my bucket list to one day cook the FBA contest in Florida. It's on my bucket list. Haven't made it to Florida yet, but hopefully one of these days I will. Maybe you can hook me up. All right. Next one is Phyllis Holland Brown. Thank you for stressing the very important information on food safety. Yeah, actually, Phyllis, I'm kind of a little bit OCD about food safety. I just came from an event. I cooked a private party in Alameda Island overlooking the bay over across from San Francisco. Absolutely gorgeous day, gorgeous view. Lots of mothers out there eating the food. And I realized that I was trying to do my Facebook post there. Guess what happened? Didn't check the internet connection. So here's a tip for you guys out there, boys and girls out there who want to do live stream. Be sure you check your internet connection. How do you check your internet connection? You run a little program called speedtest.net, and then you look at what is the not the download speed, but the upload speed. So when you're surfing the internet, right, I always watch for the download speed, right? I'm a little bit of IT geek. But when you do a live stream like this, you have to have a solid internet upload connection, going up. So you have to probably get something like 4 to 6 megabits in order to do a live stream without your pixelating or your little image getting weird on you. So hopefully this live stream I'm doing, I did it back in the house where I have a wireless connection on my phone. If I had tried to do it over in the park I was at, I posted some pictures on my Facebook site. Beautiful park, but not so good for uploading speeds, and the video will probably be choppy. So everybody's asking, hey, what did I cook at the park? You guys saw the pictures on the internet. We did, here you can see this. Okay, so food porn here. So we have my famous celebrity cornbread on my website. We have the colossal shrimp. I don't know if you can see that, colossal shrimp. These are basically like shrimp. It's 8 per pound. I got it from Santa Monica Seafood back in Los Angeles. Flew in on an airplane on Southwest on my lap. New Zealand style lamb lollipops. We had a tomahawk steak here, right here. This piece here, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely delicious. And then I did my normal pico de gallo ribs, which is the grilled ribs, just single bone grill, like churrascaria style, served with a pico de gallo and a green tomatillo salsa, and you grill some tortillas, and then you have it with it. So the crowd loved it, all the moms loved it, and it's a great success. So I'm always happy to share all these tips and get you guys on your barbecue journey in a safe manner. All right. So let's see what other questions we have. Tim Lockwood says thanks. Welcome, Tim. Michael Braga says, took your course, great refresher, enjoying a live broadcast on the last few weeks. Good weather today in Walnut, Denver. So this must be my neighbor back in Denver. I'm in NorCal now, across the bay from San Francisco. So Michael, great to hear you're finding this information useful. Robert's asking, you in Pomona next week? No, Robert, I've been so busy. I've been trying to get ready. I have a gig with Weber, the Weber Grill School in a couple of weeks. I have to prepare for that. I think it's going to be an exciting event. I'm one of the guest instructors, and they're going to basically take 3 or 4 top barbecue instructors, and they're going to pair us up into a team. So all the students will be broken up into different teams, and each student gets to pick to cook like a dream team. So I'll be hosting my own little dream team. So if you are interested, come to Chicago, sign up for the class. I think it's like $350 or $299, and it's a great class because you get to pair up with one of the pitmasters, and then you get involved in a mock contest. So it's super fun. All right, Scooby says Anthony Bourdain is barbecuing Laos today. And he's Georgian. Yeah, Scooby, I'm a big fan of Anthony Bourdain. He's a super personable guy, always very entertaining to watch, right? So I didn't want to hold you guys too long. I want to keep my broadcast kind of like 15-minute chunks of information. If you like this video, please let me know on Facebook. If you don't like it, let me know also. And most importantly, if you like other topics that you want me to talk about, I'll do that. For example, like people was asking me about MSG. What the heck is this MSG? Does it cause brain cancer? Does it make me go crazy? So I think next week I'm going to touch on that topic. So I have a lot of different topics that are in the 15 to 20 minute range, like a little TED talk. And I'll be happy to indulge you guys on it. And once I shoot it on Facebook, I'm going to post it on YouTube because people want to watch it again. So I'm going to continue to make these little broadcasts to help everybody out and kind of get you on your barbecue journey. And if you have topics that you'd like me to cover, just shoot me an email, or post a comment on Facebook, or post a comment on YouTube, and we will get to them as soon as we can. So until next time, we'll catch you again. All right, have a great time barbecuing, and again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. All right?